Hello all, I hope you're doing well today. Obviously we're now in the aftermath of the attack in Manchester yesterday. Turns out it was an Islamist attack, I think, as all of us strongly suspected. I did actually record some thoughts yesterday on it, but I held fire on publishing simply because they were taking such a long time to announce what we all already knew. And I thought, in Starmer's Britain, call me paranoid, that might be bait. Maybe I'm being OTT, maybe you have to be OTT in this day and age. But as many people have pointed out, when you had the issue in Liverpool with a man who drove his car into the crowd, his name was released in 2 hours. It took 12 to release the name of the attacker yesterday, even though we had pictures and could all tell what had gone on. I thought I'd read into the law a little bit to see what is and isn't allowed at this time, and apparently you're not even allowed to speculate because it might, quote, inflame community tensions, which is somewhat ironic, isn't it? The Starmer and his authorities will arrest you for inflaming community tensions when those very community tensions themselves are busy stabbing people outside of synagogues and ramming them with cars. I think this is what we mean by anarcho-tyranny. But given Starmer did declare war on the indigenous British just the other day, I thought it would be wise to tread with caution when he says war. I think a key element of that is going to be lawfare, i.e. treating his detractors very differently than he'd treat anybody else while he extols the virtues of free speech he so supposedly believes in. But I thought as well another reason why it took a while to come out was so Starmer could try and control the narrative. You may have seen it took a long time for Starmer to make a proper statement, and when he did, he was speaking about rising anti-Semitism, and I think he did this on purpose because he wanted to make it seem like, this spectre of hate that liberals seem to believe. And it's like a cloud that just blows in for no reason and just envelops people and takes them over. Of course, he didn't want to focus on Islamic terrorism for obvious reasons. He wanted to try and play this to his advantage and dress it up as sort of this just general hate that's in the country at the moment, i.e. blame the, quote, far right. But anyway, let's get on to the event itself. Many people have commented on it already, obviously, but hopefully I can offer some different angles. The first one I haven't seen anybody mention is the speed the police responded. Now, the authorities responded very slowly in naming the guy, but the armed police were there like a shot, no pun intended. Apparently, from call to the guy being shot was 7 minutes. That's extremely quick. Now, this tells us something very important. Number one, fair play to the police, doing their job well, obviously. But number two, they know that the country is on the edge. How can you be that quick in what it looks like a suburb of Manchester? Clearly, they're aware that, quote-unquote, community tensions are rising, and they're prepared for some sort of attack, which, if I'm honest, doesn't fill most of us, I'm sure, with a sense of optimism. All of this really is just more evidence that they know it's not working, and they know we know it's not working, but they're going to continue to gaslight us because they're going to push through their globalist liberal project no matter what. So although this is another crushing blow to the ideology of multiculturalism, the utopian liberal dream, they will now try and reassert that the non-liberal worldview is evil in whatever way they can. We all know the drill. I dare say for the next couple of days, you'll have a bit of anger, there might be a few angry tweets, maybe even a little bit of criticism of the religion of peace in the mainstream media, although that won't last long, I'm sure. You'll get Jackie and Darby who'll get tanked on vodka on a Friday night and then send a few angry tweets, and then of course you'll be hung up before the public jury on, what's his name? The guy who rides the bikes and annoys everyone. Jeremy Vine, I think his name is. They'll have her on and say, Jackie, look at this tweet you sent. Doesn't it look racist, Narinda? Shola, that princess Nigerian one. And of course those women will yell at her and scream, and they'll make it look like she's the bad guy. I don't know if the public will buy that anymore, but they'll certainly try. Then they'll probably do some Coldplay type Don't Look Back in Anger concert nonsense with the, plastic pop stars and so on. There's someone at Novara Media who's already jumped the gun. She stated yesterday, there is no way to divorce this attack from the loathing and oppression of minorities of all kinds. Muslim, trans, Jewish, disabled. It is spreading like wildfire in our society. Yeah, when a radical Muslim goes to try and stab some Jews and murders them in cold blood, you definitely want to blame the far right in England. I know statements such as this are annoying, but the silver lining is they're showing many people we can't live with these people. They despise us. Even when we don't do anything wrong, their searing hatred for us courses through, and this just isn't fixable. But look, there's nothing new here. We've explored on the channel many times how the liberal system needs the Western white male boogeyman. It has to be at the heart of all wrong for the liberal cultural system to survive. Even the supposed based Bastani, he seems to be gaining a few fans on the right wing. He's the CEO of Novara Media, I believe. He said that, we have to acknowledge now there's an uptick in political violence. Yeah, we can just explain this one away as political violence. Not obviously a massive fault line in your multicultural utopia. We should remember that the notion of the toxic West and the evil white Western male is like a giant magnet in the liberal world. It really lives in the radical left, but it pulls all of the liberal media towards it slowly, which is why you can see the right on centre leftist liberal types are also insinuating the same thing in their statements.
I was up in Liverpool this week at the Labour Party conference, and we're talking about Islamophobia, which is also real. Absolutely. And there is absolute fear in the Muslim community about what might happen and the way that they feel that they're being vilified and that they feel more vulnerable to attack. And it is just the same.
They nearly always go hand in hand.
Always go
anti-Semitism
hand in hand.
and Islamophobia are sort of two brothers. They are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, come on, guys. When a radical Muslim goes on the rampage attacking the kafir, won't somebody think about the real victims here, the Muslims?
And I've always thought, oh, come on, let's not catastrophise. Actually, we're all getting along. Yeah, it's tougher, but life goes on. And today we've had a terrorist attack on people going to worship. Those people in that synagogue at Heaton Park are not responsible for Israeli foreign policy. They are not responsible for Netanyahu and the attacks that are taking place on Gaza, causing so much misery and suffering and hardship to Palestinians. They are just Jews who are worshipping. And likewise, Muslims who go to the mosque to pray on Friday prayers are not responsible for what some crazy jihadist might do anywhere else in the world. And I really wish we could separate those two things and be able to separate the thoughts.
Yeah, and people who make comments on social media that are full of anti-liberal sentiment aren't hateful and evil. They just like to see their homeland harmonious and stable once more, right, guys? Oh, no, sorry, it doesn't count for that one. We are still pure evil and we can't separate the two in that context. Sorry, forgot that, guys. We are the evil ones. Remember that. So while after the brutal events of yesterday, the Palestinian protests still went ahead in London, which I have to say, I understand it's a serious issue in Palestine, but a bit distasteful given the events of the day. You made it look like some conquering parade. But we must always remember the Palestinian cause is seen by the liberal system as a diverse one, and that means it's good, so no matter what they do, it will be seen as kind and tolerant. That's why they always have to try and find a way to blame the West. Again, this is the whole structure the liberal system functions under. If they can't blame the West, the whole thing falls apart like a stack of cards. I'm quite interested actually to see how the Green Party are going to respond to this, because they've got a Jewish leader and a Muslim second in command. They simply must find a way to blame Whitey, to blame the West, because if they don't, they'll have to look at each other. And of course, really, that's how the Western multiculturalism functions at the moment. The enemy of my enemy is my friend type ideology. This is why idiots like Rivka at Novara Media go straight to blaming Whitey and the Western world. It's safe in the ideology. You're protected in the ideology. But as every day passes, a new horror unfolds in modern Britain, in the modern West, and the liberal ideology is taken apart brick by brick. Yes, we'll never change the minds of the liberal ideologues. They are completely set in their ways, and they are deluded and dangerous at this point. But it doesn't matter so much, because we're seeing many people who haven't been totally brainwashed starting to see reality as it is. And the truth is, we could have solved this mess 20 years ago if we wanted to. We could solve it today, but unfortunately not enough of us yet are ready to look reality in the face. So we're going to have to continue on with this selfish liberal delusion that the multicultural utopia is somehow going to magically spring into a success after all this disaster under the wide leadership of Comrade Starmer. Of course, the reality is it's now going to be a long and hard road to reality. Once we're there, though, we will be able to finally see some change occur. On that path, I think it's very important to be calm, steady, know your roots very, very deeply, and be sure to be ready for a new tomorrow. These are my thoughts as always. Do let me know what you think down below. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you know.